Yo guys, what is up? Zorin here with another video, this time on TemTem. It's been a while since I made a video on TemTem, but I felt like I needed to kind of talk about this since, if you guys don't know, before I started making VGC videos, I was actually doing a lot of content for TemTem. TemTem was kind of like what kind of inspired me to start making videos again. I used to make videos back in the day about 10 years ago for X and Y. Funny enough, now we got X and Y coming back technically as Pokemon Legend Z. But yeah, Temtem kind of sparked my interest in making videos again. And for a while, I was having a lot of fun making them, but as the game grew older, not a lot was coming in, and eventually I just felt like I wasn't having fun anymore making the videos. I was still having fun with Temtem, but I just wasn't having fun making videos because there just wasn't enough content to be making videos on the game. As there was only like 150 Temtems, and about maybe half of them were usable in competitive because the babies weren't competitive yet. Now, Crema has been doing more into trying to make the babies more competitive by giving them moves that the bigger dudes have. But I mean, I feel like that's a little too late for me at least. But it was starting to get stressful. It started to feel like um there's just not much I can do to make fun and unique teams and like try to showcase Tems, because there's just not many Tems to showcase. So I had to sometimes get creative with what I wanted to show. And at one point, I just started making one a video once a week. And at that point, I just wasn't having fun, and I needed to just stop and find something else to do. And that's where I ended up going back to making EGC videos for Pokemon. I also want to make indie videos, but right now, with how my financial stuff has been going, I haven't really been trying to make videos. And yeah, I'm just trying to for now I'm just focusing a lot more on Pokemon, and then I'm going to try to make more videos on other indie games that I feel like I just want to have fun. But anyways, guys, with that said, now that you guys know a little bit of history, let's go right into what I wanted to talk about here. So they just made a letter to the community, well, not just now, but like a day ago. I'm a little late on this, but they basically, well, it's actually 4th March. Were just giving us an open letter to the community about like what's happening with Temtem and what's happening with Crema. I just really wanted to see what's going on with this. I haven't really read it all, but we're just gonna skim through some of the parts because there were some parts that I really want to talk about, and that's what we're gonna do. So, hello Tamers, we're here to share with you an open letter to the community and to reach out to you. Yeah, they're just basically saying here they're just talking about how there's been some clashing with the community. There's always been clashing with the community. The community is not one of the most healthiest communities, I would like to say. There's so much stuff, but I mean, a lot of it stems from, I would like to say, the head developer of the game, Ya, in my opinion, um he is how do I want to put it? Ya is someone who doesn't know how to really talk as like the head design, I would like to say. So a lot of people tend to end up clashing a lot with him because he doesn't he tries to keep it professional at times, but there's times where he just lets it have it, and he doesn't keep it professional, and things just go south when, instead of like admitting faults, he just ends up just clashing with the community with that. So that's that's just what happens with y'all. Y'all is I literally don't have anything else to say about like any of the other dudes. But usually whenever I see Ya, there's always like either he's just memeing, which is fine, completely fine. Memeing is cool. But sometimes when has a concern about the game or something going on, there are times where he just doesn't, like, obviously he doesn't agree, but he does it in a way that he shouldn't do it because it just makes him look bad. So that's just what I want to say right there about him. And I'm gonna be mentioning y'all a lot here because of what they're basically saying about Temtem here. So is Temtem an MMO, right? Back in 2018, when our Kickstarter page for Temtem was created, we tried to clarify our point of view on the MMO dimension of Temtem, that it does not have the same scope, nor does it share the same basis as MMOs people think of when they think of the word MMO. Here's where it's going to get interesting. In retrospect, we realized that Kickstarter page was not the place where most players will get the information from. While we try not to upsell the multiplayer features and capabilities of the game in the store descriptions, and we have always shown the game as it is, with its flaws and strengths, we should have included something similar to the Kickstarter fact question to clarify it further and amplify this information. We think this would have been a better course of action and have learned from this for our future projects. That's fair, okay. But there's something here that I wanted to talk about though. It was this right here from the get-go. We get at Crema have described TemTem as an MMO light. Now this is like he says this was their desired tag from the beginning, but this makes no sense to me. And the reason why is because to me an MMO light is more of a I feel like it's more you would tag a mobile game that's trying to be an MMO as an MMO light, because those are literally like they're you do the whole classes things, everything, right? But the gameplay basically plays itself, and it's on your phone, and the whole point is just it's like a little social game there, and it's supposed to be like a little mini MMO and stuff like that. That's what I think of an MMO light. It's something that's on your mobile device that's trying to be an MMO, and to me, Temtem was definitely not anywhere near an MMO. And I'll get to that in a little bit after we read a little bit more. Due to the lack of this tag, we settled for the closest one, which is MMO, right? As we believe TemTem is massive, multiplayer, and online with all players from any part of the world on any platform coexisting on one sole global server and with a unified economy that encompasses every player. Here's where they don't seem to understand what an MMO is. In my opinion, that's not what an MMO is. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because that can be literally practically any game, any genre. It's not something that's exclusive to MMO at all. Because you can say that for like a FPS, you can make a global game where everybody is there playing together, and on one server and just playing. You could do that with survivals as well. Yeah, ping is a thing, but even then you could still play with them. It's like survival. I play with friends that are like in New Zealand that I play FPS games. I play ARPGs, MOBAs, all that. You could still play with them on one server. That to me that makes no sense why this only includes MMO. And I'll get to more about the MMO whole thing, what I think of an MMO is, and at least my opinion, what I think it is. But just wanted to point that out. That said, we have done our best in the past years to adapt TemTem to better fit the player's desires. An MMO tag. Many activities have been designed, created, and included out of the community's request for a more fulfilling MMO experience, such as lairs, the trading house, and dojo wars. This has made TemTem grow far beyond our original intentions and even beyond our grasp. Yes, you guys made more stuff that supposedly was supposed to fulfill the MMO experience, quote unquote, but they did not, because the way you guys designed it had in no way was it ever MMO based. And I'm not speaking about Trading House and Dojo Wars. Dojo Wars has its own issues. Trading House, that's fair. That is indeed something that you would see in an MMO. And then there's Lairs. Now, Lairs is one of the most, I guess, controversial topics of TemTem, because Lairs did not do, never did anything MMO at all. You went in, you had 5 people, you went in, and you all were in separate paths. You weren't interacting with each other. You were all just together. The only time you interacted with each other, which was added later, was a trade system in case you guys wanted to help out each other with some trades. But you would go in, battle NPCs, get bonuses, get gems, and then you fight the big dude in the end, Tyrannak, Volgon, Gallios, by yourself. That is not an MMO experience. You are not showing us a fulfilling MMO experience when we're literally doing everything on ourselves. Just because you made it so we can play with others, like we can see others, does not make it an MMO. That does not make it an MMO. We literally don't interact with the other players. Look at the raids for Pokemon, for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or Pokemon Sword and Shield. That would fit more of the whole MMO experience, because you're going in with multiple people and you're all working together to fight the big bad boss. That is more in line of an MMO, which is kind of silly since Pokemon isn't an MMO at all. It's an RPG, and it's a monster collector RPG, and that's what should have happened. You could have literally just, you know what? I'll get to that in a little bit actually, because I want to read a little bit more too, so it makes more sense. We understand now that seeing the game being called an MMO everywhere led to expectations that we have failed to fulfill. It started with the use of the MMO tag on our Steam page, which was then followed by our publisher and press, then the general public. While TemTem does fit the MMO bill in our eyes, we understand it does not in everyone's eyes. That we should have acted quicker to curb this trend. Yes, you should have. You definitely should have. You guys did this because you definitely did this because you guys wanted you were enjoying the PR and was hoping that that would help you expose your game. That was literally the only reason you were letting it happen. You guys didn't want to stop it because it was giving you some positive like exposure, and ended up biting you in the butt for it. But anyways, we apologize for the confusion that might have caused for some players. We've thought about changing the tags on the platforms, but because the game is always online experience, we didn't want to cause further confusion. We are working on making it clear in the stories to try and avoid this issue in the future. We apologize for any confusion that this decision might have caused to some players, and while we change the past, we learn from the mistake of going games forward and promise to do better. I would hope so. But let's get back into the whole. But because the game is an always online experience, we didn't want to cause further confusion. You confused everyone when you said it was an MMO. That was already the confusion. You saying it's an MMO, saying it's an MMO was the confusion part. This part right here, you could have avoided this part with this part by saying it was an online co-op experience. That's it. You didn't have to say it was an MMO. You could have said it was an RPG with online co-op, and your problems would have been solved. Because that's what TemTem technically is right now, and has been. It's an RPG just like Pokemon, where a monster collector RPG where you collect monsters, you go fight dojos, gyms, whatever, and it has online co-op. Like you can see people, you can play with them, you can do the story with each other. That's it. Pretty much all you can do is for online co-op is literally the campaign. Everything else, there is no co-op though. Like it's just there. Like so you might as well just call it an online co-op because you can at least do the story with your friends, and that's it. You would have been good. You would have been Gucci. You wouldn't have to worry about anything else. Just because you can see people doesn't make it an MMO. That's just something you guys decided to do. I don't know. It's like saying Last Epoch is an MMO. It's an ARPG. You go in, you can see everyone around you, but it's still an ARPG. It's a genre where you go in, and that's why I'm gonna explain later what an MMO is supposed to be. An ARPG. When you think about an ARPG, you think of Diablo, Last Epoch, and Path of the Exile, right? And all what these three share in common is that you guys go through like a little campaign, you go through a story to get stronger, to get a feel of your class and everything, get a feel of the game, and then at the end game, the whole point is to find gear to make you stronger, make you overpowered, make your build, come into fruition, and just feel OP, and just so you can just run dungeons down. You're just going through dungeons, just running them down, finding better gear. And that's the whole loop, just finding better gear, making yourself stronger, making your build looks as OP as possible. You just want to be OP. That's the whole point of the game. That's an ARPG, and all that's what all they do. And an MMO isn't, because they say something here. I don't know if I've already skipped it or what, or they say it later, but they say that in their eyes, that an MMO is different. No. An MMO, you guys should know what an MMO is. It's not like MMOs are something that's new to the game industry. It's like the oldest genre in like history. There's World of Warcraft. There's so many like MMOs out there, right? And World of Warcraft's the only one that comes into mind though, because I keep forgetting like RuneScape. RuneScape's another one. Like there's some like MapleStory, Tale, if you guys remember that one. Like the list goes on. Our Kingdom 2, all these are MMOs, right? And what they do, what makes them MMOs, is that yeah, you're kind of going through kind of like a story too. You're going through quests. You're grinding, leveling up, building your character, making yourself stronger. But the end game in that game is that it's raiding, doing dungeons together, um, communicating, working together, having a support, an attack. I mean, your tank, your DPS, all that stuff, and you're just the end game is just raiding, doing dungeons, finding gear in these dungeons, and just trying to and socializing. That's the whole thing. But it's like majority of the end game for MMOs are usually these big giant raid bosses, and just doing stuff together with other people. It's just socializing. There's like FF14 has the whole like houses and stuff, like housing and all that stuff, right? And you guys were trying to do that for the sake of trying to help like make it an MMO, but you guys missed the part where it makes it an MMO in terms of the end game, and that's where you guys fell apart. So that's where you guys kind of just seem to not realize what an MMO is, and yeah, you just missed out on that point, right? That's what an MMO is, but it's really surprising to me that in your eyes it's just you guys can just play together and see each other. That's pretty much what you guys are saying, is that you can see each other. That's an MMO. You guys can see each other. Yeah, that's you're playing an MMO because you can see each other. Yeah, no, there's stuff. It's like saying like a MOBA. You go. There's a team of 5 or 3, 4, and the whole objective is just to get to the other side, beat the crap out of whatever's at the other side. That's a MOBA. That's the objective. Beat the crap out of the other thing on the other side. Keep yours safe. That is a MOBA. There is things that you need to do to make it a genre, and TemTem was not an MMO. It was an RPG with online co-op. If you just aligned it with that, that would have been perfect. You wouldn't have to worry about any like issues with this. Like the layers would have made more sense because you were just like going in, fighting the Tyrannac. Like all of that would have made more sense. There would have been less heat, and you guys kind of just like make things harder on yourselves when you didn't have to. You guys basically just made the game much easier, like made the game similar to Pokemon. Because let's be real, you guys practically made it the same as Pokemon. Got EVs, TVs, breeding, all that stuff. You could have just said heck with the breeding and just like the fertility and stuff, and just made it like the economy and whatever you want to call it, and just get it out of that. But if you were going to do an MMO, theirs could have stayed the same way that they are right now, with the whole you go through a path, you beat all the stuff, you get bonuses, you do all that stuff that theirs already do, and then at the end everybody joins together to fight the boss. And then what you could have done is just make it so the boss had like some extra turns, like maybe if it attacks 2 to 3 times after everybody else attacks, and then yeah, because that would have made more sense. Because right now it's literally you go in by yourself, and the dude has 5 health bars. Like, why, my dude? Like, no, it would have made more sense if everyone went in, and this is where it would have been where you communicate with each other. Be like, oh look, I have a head giant, and you have a mushhook. We're fighting Tyrannac. How about we focus on this mushhook to make it stronger? I'll bring Zen meditation, make it stronger like that. You have a Kinu, maybe you should focus on healing, stuff like that. That's an MMO. That would have literally made more sense. But the problem is your coding, probably, because you guys always said that there's always technical issues whenever you try to add stuff. So at that point I didn't know what else to do. But yeah, but let's keep moving, because I think I talked too much there. But anyways, development time is limited for a studio our size. Yep, that's fair. New islands are a major undertaking. It took the enemy. It took the team many months to develop each island that was launched during early access. Yep. The endgame in Tamer's Paradise. Tamer's Paradise was such a failure. I'm sorry, it was such a failure. This is exactly what I mean. Tamer's Paradise was not an MMO thing either. You went in by yourself. That every single thing that you did besides like the mini lair to get eggs was by yourself as well. You weren't doing it with anyone. Most of the stuff, arena, draft arena, the waves, everything was done by yourself. That's not an MMO, Crema. That is not an MMO. And I understand it. You guys were trying to make it an MMO light, but that's also not an MMO light. It was just an RPG with online co-op. And the online co-op is for the PvP and certain content. That was it. Again, that's all you had to say, because an MMO, MMO light or MMO whatever kind of doesn't work for this, right? And I get it. You guys never meant it to be an MMO, but you guys kind of rode the wave of people saying it was an MMO, and so people expected it to be an MMO, and you guys couldn't do it, which is just fine, I guess. But just putting it out there. Yeah, RPG again. It was supposed to be an RPG with online co-op. That's what TemTem is. Right, so every time we set out to create a new area, we invest a lot of resources from all teams and a lot of time. Whenever a new island came out to public, it was received with cheers and excitement, of course, yes, because everybody loves new content. But we all noticed how fast the players would consume the content and leave once more. Again, yes, we have short attention spans. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, Crema. We all have short attention spans. That's on us. Understandably, the community wants new islands to enjoy and discover and hope they will make the game to call out more people, but after thorough study through early access, we never noticed a permanent increase in the player base after the release of a new island. While islands are terribly enjoyable, many players will finish a new island in around 6 hours when it had taken our team 9 months to make. Fair. That's fair, yep. Totally understandable. And thus the cycle where players come back momentarily for new islands, then leave again continues. And again, because you guys aren't making a lot of profit from these new islands, it makes sense why you guys don't want to keep going, right? Game's dead right now. It's for all you leftover TemTem players. Yeah, game's dead. This is pretty much them just saying that the game is dead, right? And we'll get to that later. But yeah, making more stuff is hard. It's not easy. I can completely understand Crema here. But they should have after what they did with 1.0. They could have done DLC, and we'll get to that too. We'll get to that too because they talk about it here, and I wanted to talk about that as well. Certain 2 islands that building TemTem's requires a lot of resources and time to create, but only a couple minutes to find and tame. Gallios was a huge addition to the game while having its own area and a totally new zone, its own quest, which also unlocked Umbra TemTem and innovative traits in design. Yes, but that was a legendary, and correct me if I'm wrong, whoever decides to see this and go through this whole video, because I'm just doing this because I just wanted some place to rant. Not really rant, just kind of like talk about what's going on. But that was supposed to be part of your promise, I think, that we were supposed to be getting 3 mythicals. And so the whole new zone and stuff, we're not asking you for a new zone. You could have literally added any TemTem, like new TemTem, a new TemTem. It doesn't even we didn't need multiple TemTems out. I mean, when Gallios came out as a small TemTem streamer, because TemTem didn't have a big player base to begin with, when Gallios came out, that video made like 2,000 views, where I was only getting like 200, 300 views, and that was just Gallios. That was just one Tem, and it had nothing to do with the area. It had nothing to do with the Umbra TemTem. It was just because it was Gallios. It was something new, something fresh. Because remember, I made PvP videos, so none of this other stuff mattered, right? The innovative traits and the traits and design did matter because it's cool. It's a really cool looking Tem, but the zone, its own quest, all that stuff didn't matter in terms of why people came to watch the video. Was because it was a new Tem, and if you just made new Tems, made them with their own innovative traits and design, that would probably be much less resources used than making it with its own area. You can literally just put it somewhere in one of the current islands, and that would have been pretty cool. That would have kept fresh. Literally just 1 or 2 Tems. I'm not asking you to make 150 more. Just 1 or 2 Tems every like season. Maybe even 1 Tem a season would have been fine, because then that's still something new that's coming into the metagame, and it would have made it so much more interesting instead of you just giving resilient to Taru and making him more broken. But we'll get to that later. Carlos, despite all its implications, didn't manage to retain players, and a few new TemTem's every now and then would likely walk the same path. Yes, it would, but we'll talk about that later at the end. There are a couple of factors into consideration when creating a TEM. Lore-wise, you have to think of where they will be located, how they will blend in with the environment, and the lore balance-wise, you need to carefully study how it will affect the PvP environment. We're not going to talk about the PvP environment. With the introduction of new characters, new traits, and new techniques have to be created, which in turn opens up even more odds to take into consideration when introducing, balancing, and testing these additions to the game. This implies even more resources from a bigger chunk of the team. Yes, and because you guys weren't making a lot of money, that makes sense. Lastly, for both Islands and TemTem's, games that are designed to continue receiving content notice for are designed that way from its inception. This is not the case for TemTem. Yes, because again, you were an RPG online co-op. You were not an MMO. Or an MMO light. If you were designing it as an MMO light or MMO, whatever you want to call it, then you actually have to be making content, because at that point, that's what an MMO is. That's how MMOs live. That's why MMOs are the hardest thing to make, because you constantly have to be making content for it, right? But anyways, this is what I was saying. If you just called it an RPG with monster collecting and online co-op, you guys would have been set. You guys would have made your game, made it to 1.0, do all your promises that you said you needed to do, and you would have been done. Nothing. You're good. You made your game. That's it. You didn't have to do anything else, because that the game's complete, because it's not an MMO. It's an RPG, just like Pokemon. It's just like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. They brought out a game, and then they move on to the next one. That's what Pokemon does. But okay, so let's see. Yeah, we ended with 165, and yeah, we ended up making the pants another zone. Yep. We made the sun a zone. Yep. Yep, it got buggier and buggier because your coding was spaghetti. Yes. Sure, we are heavily indebted to the Crema of the past who designed them to be a finite yet endlessly enjoyable online world, and this prevents us from being able to expand to its limit to the point where everyone would be satisfied. Yes, it does have. It was endlessly enjoyable to an extent, because you got Luma hunting definitely helps out with that. And one thing that TemTem did have that Pokemon didn't is Luma hunting was incredible. Um, the Luma designs were incredible. The Luma like palettes were incredible. Definitely something that I will praise Crema for is the Lumas. The Lumas were incredible. And here we go. This is where I wanted to talk about was many of you have asked for a DLC that contains new TemTem's, and while it crossed our mind for a moment, there are many obstacles to the idea, even more than there are benefits. Firstly, all the issues of creating new TemTem's mentioned before apply, but there's even more to it. It would collide with our philosophy against pay to win in TemTem. I'm gonna about that in a bit, because this makes no sense. Think about it. What would happen to those players who don't purchase the DLC? We'll get to that. Like I said, they wouldn't have those new exclusive TEMs with their new traits, and in many cases will not be able to face DLC owning tamers. False. Due to TemTem being an online game, this will create a huge gap between players and the fight the players. Now let's talk about this, right? Oh, well, actually, that's what they're trying to say. It's like the PvP player base. Would it be fair to put up a DLC owner against someone who doesn't have a DLC? And this is where they bit themselves in the ass with Showdown. It's because of Showdown that this doesn't work. Because if it wasn't for Showdown, this would work. All right, so let me put it this way, and it's probably why Showdown doesn't work in the in Pokemon either. You could literally, this is something that Pokemon already does. They already do this. This isn't new. This isn't new, Crema. Pokemon does this already. I don't know if you guys just don't play games, or just forgot what games are, or how Pokemon functions. Because if you guys made you made TemTem basically like Pokemon, so I don't know where this is from, but there were 2 DLCs for Gen 9 for Scarlet and Violet that introduced new Pokemon. Yes, this locked people from those mons. In a way, it is kind of like pay to win, but, and this is a big but you can trade those mons from the DLC to players that don't have the DLC, right? All you had to do was make them tradable to people that don't have the DLC, and that's all that mattered. That's all you had to do, because you had you had an auction house. You had a trading house. You had a trade system. All you had to do was make them tradable. That is not an issue. So don't bring that up as that being an issue. That is not pay to win. It's pay to win in Pokemon because of the way they did it. You don't have to do it the way that Pokemon did it. Because the way that Pokemon did it was that they had certain Pokemon that you only catch once. That was where the issue lied. In this one, all you have to do is make them that you can always catch them or breed them, make them breedable, make them catchable more than once, and you had no issue. People that don't get DLC can just trade people that have it. This would also kind of help the economy because now the people that can't get it will kind of need to get those Pansems going, so they're gonna use their Pansems to get those eggs. Now we have even more reason to use our Pansems because honestly we don't have any other reason to use them. Like we can literally just get whatever because everything's so cheap now. Because I mean, why not? But new TemTem's that literally were part of the DLC, the economy would have like spiked a bit because now the these are more wanted Tems because they're quote unquote rarer because they're in DLC. But this would make it so the people that don't buy in can still get the DLC. And most likely, when you make these new Tems in a DLC, you're most likely bringing a new island, right? Like a new area, like you're saying. They need to fit somewhere, lore-wise, right? So you bring a new area. It's new DLC. It's an expansion basically, and you bring out the Tems, and then you have a little mini story, and then that's it. Now you have those TemTems. So you're technically paying the DLC. You're technically paying for the story and the island, not the TemTems. The TemTems just are in there. So the people that buy it get to experience the story. The people that don't get to experience the extra story. That's where they lose out, right? But the TemTems, they could just trade it over if the other people want it. Like, oh, you need this new TemTem? Here, trade with me. I'll get it for you. That's it. Problem solved. Now people can fight. But the problem is that Shodan exists. So what this happens? Would Shodan be a problem though? Because it's the same thing. People can trade you the mons, so yeah, you could just put them in Shodan. It would have been the same thing because people will have access to it anyways, no matter what, because they can just trade people or they can just use Showdown. It's the only thing is that they wouldn't be able to hunt the Lumas. That's it. It's that doesn't matter. If they want to hunt the Lumas, they support you guys. That's not an issue. Again, I don't see how this makes any sense why DLC is an issue. So just wanted to put that out there. Doesn't make sense. You guys can easily fix that. You guys just don't want to. More multiplayer content then. As mentioned, we're deep in technical depth. As mentioned in the point prior to this one, we're deep in technical depth. Yeah. So deep that every bit of content we add to the game causes ripples on most content already in the game, other escaping our sights and causing trouble for you and unpredictable work for us. Yeah. Adding new multiplayer content creates a waterfall of side effects. Yep, basically just a lot of bugs and Switch having issues. Basically, that's what's happening here. There's a social risk we have to face when we create an online world. People trying to take advantage of every system we put in place through illegal. Yeah, so cheating. Yeah, that makes sense. And they already have a lot of issues with. There's so many bugs, especially in competitive. It's a mess. What about the content you promised in the Kickstarter? We know some of you are aware that all the features from Kickstarter campaign have not been delivered yet, but that won't be the case for long. The arcade part, the last of these commitments, is being delivered in version 1.7 of TemTem, set to release in early June. See, that's the thing about Crema. I give them so much flack for all the balancing and all that bad stuff, but they do their best to try and keep those promises going. It might have taken them longer, but they still do it, and I'm pretty sure this is probably already like hitting their wallet really hard. Like probably just doing they probably can't even really like they can probably afford it, but it's probably like really denting into their profits if any at all. And they're still going to they're still committing to it and not just like giving up and saying, oh, no arcade bar, sorry, we can't do it. They're doing it. So at that point, yeah, Crema, you gotta give it to Crema. They do try to give us what they promise, so that's okay. Like I said, it's just there's just some stuff that they didn't communicate properly. They didn't do well, and of course, like I said, they hopefully, I'm hoping, they learn with their future project because they do talk about something like that. But yeah, then there's the whole TemTem Swarm thing, where we just got TemTem Swarm. TemTem Swarm is interesting. I'll talk about that maybe later. During this road to fulfill what was trying, we ended up choosing and working on many quests the community had made that we agreed would improve the game and were actually feasible. While we understand the frustration with the delay, we believe these additional features, updates, and content would enrich TemTem beyond the original plans. Here's a short list of solo noodles that were requested and then prioritized. Side Park was probably like the only good thing of this list. I'm not even gonna be like, okay, that's not fair to say. Free Tem was not great. Postal service, not the best, but it's not bad either. Fishing, not the best either, but it's something you can do when you're bored. Those little rematches, this was good. This was good. Mythical Lairs, not good. This was bad because of the way they implemented. I already explained why, what they could have done better to make it more an MMO. But yeah, additional challenge modes, random lock, speed, and randomize. This was very, very good. Very, very welcome addition. This was amazing. The secret one with its own quest and rewards. Okay. I don't know what this. I don't know if how to feel about this one. I didn't even do it. This one was boring because like you were getting stickers, and the only reason to do it was if you were doing PvP. So its rewards weren't even that good. Umbras, again, this was cool until you realize they were all just Shadowmons. Like they were just. Why am I even complaining about that? Literally, like if anybody complains about Umbras and you like Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, please just go away. Because that's pretty much what Umbras were Pokemon Gale of Darkness. That's why I'm not even gonna complain about this. But they could have definitely been cooler, but they were just, they were kind of a miss in my opinion. Temtem radars, very good as well. At the same time, kind of bad because they take way too long of your time. So I kind of stopped doing these as well. Tracer was good. Showdown was really, really good as well. It helped in terms of like making video content, was very, very useful for that, and also just letting you kind of build teams and do what you want, just have fun, which is really cool. So Showdown was a good one as well. Events were really just implemented bad. They were a good idea, just implemented bad. Spectator mode, everybody loves that. New status conditions, evading alerted. whoever wanted evading, no. Please never want something like this again. Especially with the way that way Temtem works. The battle log is good. Wishing wells, useless because they kind of didn't update this at all. Player's vault, useless as well. I never really use it. Twitch drops was good. Special rare dies were bad because of what they are. Media center was good, but then they just kind of like left it there. So this doesn't matter either. Main music tracks and fusion. Yeah, the music tracks are really cool. Music is always a banger. The Tem Essence, Tem filters, battle hotkeys, all this was good too. But yeah. What else? What else is there? What about the monetization systems on the TemTem and our future projects? So yeah, this is where we know the game's dead. This game is pretty much dead. So we understand the monetization system on TemTem was deemed out of place for a lot of players with our game not following the traditional rules of levelized service game. This was the most MMO thing they did, was put in microtransactions and not the cosmetics into the game. But we'll talk about that later. Tamer Pass was designed with the intention to be as convenient as possible. Yeah. The Tamer Pass was good. In my opinion, was probably the best thing they did in terms of microtransactions. It provided you a lot of good cosmetics in like everything, like intros, outros, all that good stuff for just like, what was it, like $8? That's really good. Like people who hate battle passes, when they're made like this, like the Tamer Pass and stuff, they're just weird. Like Overwatch does it really bad and people eat that up. So you know. With this, we want to reassure you once again that no content was raw from TemTem by having this MTX system in place. I don't know about that. You guys literally didn't put any more cosmetics into the game. But okay. And looking at the future, we want to pray for TemTem. We reviewed our monetization system, our TemTem, and a few changes will take place as soon as patch 1.7 launching in early June. As of 1.7, all the microtransactions in the game will be gone. You won't be able to purchase Novas anymore. And this is basically saying game's dead. That's what this game. That's what's happening here. They're probably getting ready to shut the game down. Well, like not shut the game down. Y'all did say that they were gonna make an offline mode if that happens. So game's going to still be technically alive. You just won't be able to play with people anymore. At least that's what I'm getting from that. But yeah, the game's pretty much done. It's done. It's going to die. We're giving it probably the end of the year where they're going to announce game's dead. We're shutting down. Can't hold it anymore. It's not making money, and then it just becomes offline mode. So TemTem is officially pretty much gone. The novels you already own will be usable as always, and will be able to purchase cosmetics from the daily and weekly shop as well as the Tamer Pass. And you can purchase with novels will also be purchasable with feathers from now on. This includes Tamer Passes and anything from the weekly and daily shop. We will share more details as patch 1.87 gets closer. As of 1.8, we're making a handful of changes to alleviate FOMO. You'll be able to select any Tamer Pass from the start. You'll also be able to unlock premium track of any past Tamer. This time using feathers, you'll be able to switch between passes at any given time, and your progress in each one will remain preserved. We also want to adjust the store and take away as much FOMO as possible. Great. But we already know why. And yeah. Following what's been said, version will contain what you would usually expect from a big patch, a new season, a new Tamer Pass, balance change, any features, bug fixing, quality of life. It's a normal update that you've been used to seeing so far. In this case, as promised, the Archibald will make its appearance with new buildings and minigames. We hope you enjoy new obtainable rewards. Again, doesn't make it an MMO or an MMO Lite, because we're going to be doing it ourselves. As for future patches, we are planning to have 1.8 to be the last feature-oriented patch. There it is. That's for future patches. We're planning to be the last one. 1.8 will not have a Tamer Pass nor season, and there won't be more seasons going forward. This doesn't mean there will be new patches in the future. We'll continue polishing, fixing bugs, and finding them for as long as it needs it. It's gonna go down soon. New TMR rework, all that stuff. Beyond the economy, all the changes have been made concerning the community's feeling against well-being. As you're regarding the information fear of impending server closure, rest assured it's not in the plans. Maybe not yet, but it's definitely going. It's there. One of the biggest benefits of TemTem's foundation and digital design is that server costs are slim, meaning we can take care of its costs for a really long time. All right, well that's good. But in terms of the game, like the game is dead technically. So even if they keep it up, it's just Crema trying to hold those last few people to let them have their fun, have their PvP experiences pretty much. Will we see spin-offs, sequels, more TemTem stuff? Wait, another common fear we want to help quench with this letter is the fear of a deserted archipelago and the possible effects this will have on remaining players. Another game with remaining Joe, even with a low player risk, will die if 1,000 people don't play it daily and it's focused on classic. But yeah, it's not gonna die like that, but it's dead as in nobody's gonna be playing it. If people are playing it, it's just because they're bored, they just want to Luma hunt or something. But the game is dead. Like it's basically just hanging on its last leg, and it's like Koromon. Koromon is there, you play it for the story, the Nuzlocke, the challenges, but its PvP is pretty much dead unless it came back. But I remember them coming back, and it didn't really help the PvP scene. It's pretty much just a story game at this point, which is what TemTem is going to end up becoming. We're aware of the community desire for a TemTem sequel. Our communication channels are often filled with questions about a possible TemTem 2, expectations for it, and more. We hear you. The team has debated on the creation of sequels for some time. But fortunately, the stakes are high and there aren't enough reasons to achieve what the team would desire the sequel to be, and the sequel you would deserve. After hearing so many opinions on what you would like the possible TemTem 2 to be, we feel like we shouldn't rush ourselves to make the same mistake we made in the past. And even in the present, if we were able to do this, we need to be able to produce a product and flow of content that all of you can enjoy and love to the maximum. Such a product is still of our grasp and reach. We're simply not ready. We are the studio, too small to embark on the feat we'd like TemTem 2 to be. We don't currently have the technical knowledge, time, nor the ability to bring those ideas to life. Now, TemTem 2, if they were to ever make it, at least for me, is for them to just do what I was trying to say earlier, was forget about trying to make it so an MMO Lite. Just do what Pokemon does. Make it have 150 Tems, some story, some islands, maybe some DLC, and then move on to TemTem 3, TemTem 4, TemTem 5. Because I think if you guys just did that, it would have been so much better for the IP. I think you guys would have done so much better, because when the game came out, I feel like you guys rushed TemTem out as well, because when it came out, your game couldn't even hold 40,000 people, which is crazy to think about, right? Because 40,000 people compared to things like Power World, Helldivers 2, holding, like even Last Epoch is having issues with only 200,000 people, right? And they were not either prepared for it either. But yeah, you guys weren't. If you guys were able to hold the fort much better when you released, you guys were better prepared. I think TemTem would have actually stayed a little bit longer, and I think you would have had at least 5 to 10,000 people just playing, and you guys would have had like a healthy player base to kind of like make future projects and stuff. But because of that, TemTem just ended up just falling apart because you guys tried to do too much, in my opinion, with TemTem. And if you guys just focused on what you had, on what made TemTem good, like its Lumas, its synergy, and its stamina system was really good. It's the whole double thing. It's like the whole like the story, like stuff like that. If you guys just focused on that, I think TemTem could have been a lot better. But unfortunately, you guys try to make something that you guys weren't prepared for, in my opinion, and it just ended up going downhill for that. So it sucks that TemTem's pretty much gone. It's not gone, but it's pretty much dead. And yeah, there's not gonna be a TemTem 2. Wait, our intentions for Project down below are to build new foundations, try out new things. Would love to see in a hypothetical TemTem 2. By exploring a new combat system, a stronger engine, and more things we can't unveil yet, we hope to learn the proper basis and have enough preparation and experience to put us closer to the materialization of something as precious to us and you as TemTem 2 should be. So it's TemTem 2 happening? I know they're trying to keep the TemTem IP going, right? As for TemTem Swarm is, you already know, a video game we have been co-developing with GD Tech Studio for a year now. Although the initial deal had been in our mental backlog for a while, the foundations was set by GG Tech Studios, and for the past year, we have played a supporting role in the Bullet Heaven survival game as the owners of the IP. We would have liked to quick start this project by ourselves in the past so we would reach the market before, but we didn't want to take resources away from TemTem at any cost. This was smart, so they're definitely learning. That was smart of them. So we waited until this opportunity for co-development popped up. In no case have we removed any resources nor team members from TemTem's development to use on Team TemTem Swarm, nor do we plan to. And all this talking is making it hard for me. But that's not all. In our hope to build a strong IP that people enjoy in many ways, we are trying to broaden the TemTem horizons beyond video games and have been working on such projects for a while now. Yeah, like the anime. They are making an anime, which I'm excited to, honestly, I'm really excited for that. We can't share much yet, but we're very excited about how it currently looks and believe it will be fantastic approach to the TemTem world for players. Yeah, I really think a TemTem anime would help the IP a lot because it might help expose TemTem as an IP to maybe maybe make people want like another TemTem game. And this time I'm hoping, I really hope that when you guys do decide to make another TemTem game, that you guys take your time. First off, take your time, because if you see, like you saw, all these great games that came out like Power World, Baldur's Gate 3, they took their time, they cooked it, they did delays. Doesn't matter there's delays, doesn't matter what, just take your time. That's all I want. Take your time. I don't care. It takes 3, 4, 5 years from now. Take your time. Make TemTem the game that you guys want. Balance it properly. Make sure that you guys focus on what you guys were trying to do, like the synergy system and the stamina system. Because I'll be honest, you guys did not. Like, at first, you did. Like when the game began, the synergy system was like the coolest thing I ever saw in one of these monster collecting games, where like when I first saw water cannon become purple when it shut out that Ukama and it poisoned them, I thought that was the coolest thing ever in a Pokemon game, in a TemTem in a monster collecting game. And then the whole stamina system was really cool, and then it just fell apart. Like you guys just stopped doing that. Like all the new stuff that you brought out was just completely ignoring the stamina system and the synergy system. Either the stamina was just didn't matter anymore, or synergy system, like hasty lunge didn't matter anymore, for example. And I shouldn't even say that. Hasty lunge was actually your most balanced move that came out, and this is just my opinion, but hasty lunge was pretty much the perfect move that used the stamina system and the synergy system. You needed synergy just to prevent overexertion, and if not, you had to, spend a turn just sitting there. It was a very powerful move because it was priority. But if you wanted to spam it, you needed to have a teammate of the certain type, which was really good. That was really good power. I thought that was incredible. And then we had adrenaline shot, and that kind of like just threw it out the bus. But the other issues, that's not even the biggest issue. We had things like plague, we had things like sludge gift, we had things like all these things just completely not care about synergy. There were really powerful moves that didn't require any sort of like teammate or anything, and I thought that was just really bad for the game because it just really made things more difficult to enjoy the game when you just keep spamming this really strong move, even though there's supposed to be like the stamina system and it wasn't even doing anything. And there's supposed to be a synergy system where Plague was literally just exhausting you, had priority, did all these crazy things at no cost, besides your stamina. That's it. But like if it had synergy, that would have made much more sense why it did stuff like that. So yeah, I hope that you guys more focus on the synergy and stamina system. If you guys still go that route, if not, then that's completely fine. If you guys found a better, I wouldn't be mad about that. I would like it if you guys kept at least the synergy system and worked and went on it because the synergy system was really cool, and I think you guys had something going there. You just kind of just, I'm sorry, but you guys listen way too much to the competitive channel on your Discord, and I don't think that was the way because every single time I went into that channel, they were just crying about nerfing the next like annoying thing that was there. So, oh, like the next thing that was annoying that wasn't a problem before but became a problem because something else stopped being a problem. So like Maola got nerfed because of the whole because something else got nerfed. Then after Maola, they went after Shaolan, and then after Shaolan, they went after Nagai. Like it was just Nagai's came first. It was Nagai's, then Maola, then Shaolan. Like you guys were just nerfing things instead of like buffing things that helped fight that. You guys just nerfed the Shalant and the Maola instead of buffing our tools that we could use that were just not good. Because we had the tools, they were just not good. Similar to what was that one move? That new move that came out that was like haze. That thing was bad. And instead of buffing it, you guys just kept nerfing like other stuff. And then now then you for some reason gave Tataru resilient a buff and took it away from Capire for whatever reason. You kept it on the dude that was already really strong, that had a combo that made the combo even stronger for some reason. But Capire loses it for some odd reason. Finally got a really strong trait and then you just remove it. And it doesn't even have AoE. Tataru has AoE. It can hit both Tams after hitting a rage and then doing like chunking your Tams or flat out deleting them. I don't understand that balance there, but okay. I guess Tataru just gets to keep playing the game, right? Instead of Capire, who hasn't really been seeing any play. And I don't want to hear from people in the competition. No, but I play Capire. No, you're one person. Everybody is playing Tataru. One person is playing Capire. It's not the same thing. And that was like the most annoying thing. That competitive channel basically was just the reason why these things were getting nerfed, and it just made no sense to me. That every time I just saw one thing after another getting nerfed because I just saw them crying about it in competitive channel instead of just buffing the tools that we have to compete with that stuff. Because they were, in my opinion, they were balanced. It was just that we didn't have the tools. The tools that we had weren't good. If we just bumped those up, they wouldn't have been a problem. But anyways, this is it for this very lengthy open letter to you. Yep, this is it for me. I've been talking for like 20,000 years now. This almost an hour. I don't think you guys are gonna be watching this, but for anyone that got all the way down here, I just want to say it does suck to see TemTem going down because I put in about 8,000 hours into this game. I really did. Well, I really do love TemTem, And as much as y'all can be a little pain in the butt, I'm sorry, yeah, you can be a pain in the butt, and um, you you made a really great game alongside your studio, and I at least want to say thank you for making the game because Pokemon he really did need competition. I just wish you guys were the competition for it, and sadly you guys weren't able to. I mean, for some reason, Power World is their competition, even though it's survival. It's a survival game, whereas your game is literally pretty much right next to Pokemon in terms of how the game works. But I just want to thank you guys for the game that you guys made. I want to thank you guys for the 8,000 hours you made, you took away from me. But it was 8,000 hours of fun. I met a lot of cool people. It was a good game. It still is a good game. I know it's still gonna be going on for a while. And like you said, like you guys said, it's not going anywhere just yet. But it is a dead game. Let's put away our cope tanks away because it is dead. But from just talking about this and seeing your letter and stuff, I as much how do I put this? I want to keep supporting you guys by buying your games because yes, if you guys didn't if you guys took away like for example when you guys were talking about the TemTem's Swarm taking away resources and stuff, I will praise you guys for that because you guys definitely could have just made TemTem Swarm because of the whole trending of the Bullet Heaven, and you guys are very late to the party because of it. But I can commend you guys for letting your game cook because that shows that you guys are actually trying to improve on what you guys failed to do with Temtem, and that gives me hope for your projects in the future. So this lets me feel like I want to buy Temtem's Horn because I saw it. The one thing you guys like to do for some reason, you guys like to be ballsy and try to be very ambitious with your games and try to add too much stuff. And hopefully, you guys tone it down. Have learned to tone it down to and realize what you guys have to say when you guys make your games. I hope that you guys realize that you need to put in you have to word your things in a certain manner. Don't say that it's an MMO. Like say it's an RPG with online co-op. First, look at what you're making, and then make sure that you're not getting yourself into a genre that has all these things that you need to do. Because an MMO really does need DLC, expansions, all that stuff, and you guys can't do that. Don't make it. Just make a game similar to Pokemon, and just make sequels, just like Pokemon. Nobody's going to hate you on that. No one's gonna beat you over the bush for that. If people hate on it, let them, because for some reason they just want Pokemon to be the only thing monopolizing monster taming games when they shouldn't. So I'll continue supporting you guys with your games. I wasn't planning to buy a TemTem Swarm honestly, but I do have to admit you guys are definitely trying to learn with your projects. Maybe TemTem is a lost cause and you guys can't really help it, but when I was looking at TemTem Swarm, it does look like a fun game. Specifically because I don't think there's another Heaven bullet game that, like a bullet Heaven game, whatever you guys are calling it, that has co-op, which is really cool. And so I'm really looking forward to the game, and I definitely will give it a try. And I'm looking forward to any future, projects that you have. I'm hoping to see more Temtem too, but I'm looking forward to what you guys are cooking. I'm looking forward to the anime. So with that said, I think that's really all I have to say. Um, but yeah, you guys just make sure that you learned a lot from Temtem, and I just wish you guys, good luck in your future endeavors as a company. Cause yeah, Temtem was a great game. You guys had an idea, and definitely think you guys also made a lot of fans and a lot of people happy with the game with a substitute to Pokemon. So thank you guys again. I'm just gonna thank you guys again for the hours, and yeah, thank you for whoever ended up watching this all the way to the end. At this point, I'm just ranting on, so it's late at night. I'm just like half asleep, so at this point, I'm just talking to myself. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. But yeah, when TemTem's Swarm comes out, I'll probably buy it and try it out. A few friends. And yeah, thanks again, Crema. Make sure you guys, make sure your next IP doesn't end up like TemTem. I see potential in you guys. I really do. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Peace.